My security guard friend led me into a mall that's been abandoned since the early 2000s. Told him I was looking for haunted places. We go during daylight, about an hour or so before the sun sets, and during the drive, my friend gives me a rundown of the place. Says it opened in the 1970s and went through many anchor stores, smaller chain stores, and mom and pops before shuttering indefinitely. The owners of the property haven't demolished it, and in the meantime, they send security daily to check. Apparently, it's regularly visited by vandals, or so they say. As for why it was closed, there's of course the pretty standard reasons. Crime in the area, competing with smaller shopping centers that sprang up, and competing with online retail. But there may be other reasons. My friend tells me about the stories. He says workers and store owners would sometimes hear odd noises before and after closing time, when there were hardly any people. These included loud scratching noises and beating coming from walls. Pest control was called on too many occasions to count. One store clerk supposedly said he saw something squatting behind clothing racks with something in its hands, though details of what the thing and what it was holding were anybody's guess now. Weird stuff would happen with people's electronics, particularly computers and cell phones. According to my friend, near the end, workers would open their stores to find store computers on with documents open, and random sequences of letters typed. They'd be random until someone spotted actual English words within the gibberish, as if whoever had typed them had gotten lucky. Cell phones in the early 2000s, also near the end, would get lost and be found later with weird photographs, most of them completely dark. I accuse my friend of pulling my leg, but he isn't finished. He tells me about how it was an indoor shopping mall. It was an outdoor shopping center. Before that, a park next to a church. And before that, back in the late 1800s, almost at the turn of the century, Native American burial hounds that had been there had moved to another location. He tells me that, according to legend, those had been warriors that had been buried. They had been buried there to keep watch against something below. I asked him which tribe, and he isn't sure. I tell him he's pulling my leg so much he might as well pull it completely off. He tells me soberly that he's just relaying information from his fellow security guards. Nobody even goes there at night anymore, and that is a fact, and if I doubt it, I can just ask the others. We drive up to the abandoned shopping mall and get out. Inside, the shopping mall has some natural lighting from the skylights. Things are in such poor condition though it seems to have been shut up well before the early 2000s. My friend says the owners blame vandals who have put holes in the walls and ceiling. The owners gave up trying to patch them. Things get weathered more quickly because of that. Garbage litters the floor. There is no graffiti, but there are smears slathered onto and grooves cut into out of walls. Glass has been busted out of railings and storefronts where they aren't plywood and concrete blocks. Installations has been torn out of gashes in the wall and strewn all over the place. Mold is everywhere. The escalators wobble when I step on them. There is no power, obviously. We take similar escalators down like rotten rubber stairs to the theater in the basement. My security guard friend has to start using his flashlight, and I'm using my cell phone's flashlight app, so I don't take as many pictures as I'd like. I did take a few pictures of the theater we went into. A room empty of seats, but I don't think those are as relevant. What seemed most important to my friend was this hole he was telling me about. So we go down again, stairs this time, into a smaller area with pipes and generators. Beyond that bluish machine in the photograph above, and at the corner of the side of that building, we come across a 6 feet by 3 feet or so hole in the concrete. The dirt directly beneath is loose. My security guard friend shines his flashlight on it so I can take a picture. My friend tells me that they used to dare each other to go into that hole. Him and his security guard coworkers that come by here. They even used it to haze a couple of guys. That stopped though when one of their guys disappeared. He came out of the hole, shaken, wouldn't say what he saw, and disappeared a few days later. My friend says he doesn't know how or when that hole got made. At this point, I say how disappointed I am in him for embellishing the lie like that. I get ready to go inside. Isn't that what he's goading me to do? He tries to stop me, but I don't listen. It doesn't appear at first that the hole goes anywhere. I'm not worried. Maybe not as worried as I should be. But when I stick my head in, I find that the passage large enough to crawl through goes off from one side. I wriggle in a little, using my cell phone to light the way. The walls are more solid farther in. It's like the hole in the concrete and looser dirt was dug into much older tunnels. It's stagnant and musty down here. I crawl a few minutes and snap a few photographs before I hear something moving in there with me. I want it to be coming from behind. It's coming from up ahead of me in the tunnel, and there's no denying it's the sound of something crawling. I caught a picture of it as it turned a corner about a dozen feet in front of me. Its eyes are bright and almost liquid or plasma-like. Its jaw doesn't appear normal either. Don't know if it was a trick in the dark and the technology I used to capture it, but that's the picture in my cell phone. Whatever it is snakes back a little ways before stopping. It disappears from my view while I'm crawling backwards more quickly than I normally crawl forwards. I'm shouting the whole time. I panic more when I feel something grab me from behind and pull. My stomach gets scraped to bleeding from one edge of the concrete part of the hole, but it's my friend that is pulling me out. I show him the pic and we both run back towards the stairs. Next few days and I'm posting these pictures and my experience on an image board. You might be able to guess which, on the net. I go to sleep feeling uneasy about the whole thing, wishing I never shared it. When I wake up and check the image board for responses, hoping someone can debunk that thing as some kind of animal, I notice among other responses my own response. But it's a response I never left. During a time when I'd been asleep, the response from what I thought must have been my hacked account has only the words pic related and a picture. That's a picture of me sleeping. I check my cell phone. There are several pictures on it of me sleeping. It helps me remember what my security guard friend said about cell phones being stolen and weird pictures being taken on them, as well as weird things being written on computers at that mall. It also brings to mind the noises I heard outside the night prior, those that I convinced myself were just animals. Making rounds throughout my house, I discovered something disturbing. I hadn't even noticed when it had happened, but one of the windows in the living room, muffled behind thick curtains and blinds, had been shattered, like the shattered glass inside that mall.
We all have that fear that seems irrational to most people, whether it be clowns, insects, public bathrooms, whatever. However, I think we can also all agree that those fears had to have spawned from somewhere, right? Well, for me, that fear is malls. I haven't stepped foot in one within the last 6 years, and I don't think I ever will again. Not after what happened the last time. I was 16 when it happened. Me and some friends decided to ditch class one day to do something rebellious. We were teenagers, you know. We just wanted to be adults. My friend, who I'll call Lisa, had just recently gotten her license. Her parents had gifted her a car for her 16th birthday, and she had become our designated driver until we obtained our licenses. She picked us up from the meeting spot we'd chosen for the day, and together, me, her, and my other friend we'll call Ashley, all began our journey to the local mall. I'll never forget the shock that I felt when we pulled into the parking lot and found that it was nearly completely empty. I suppose, at the time, we didn't realize that ditching school meant we were out in the world while the rest of our schoolmates were in class, safe and sound. We decided to proceed, however, and as we entered the mall, a surreal, uncanny feeling washed over us. I had never seen the mall so empty. It took the fun out of things, really. Part of the mall experience is the crowds, right? The hustle and bustle of things. As we walked through the building, stopping at a handful of stores in the process, we decided that this idea really wasn't worth it. It just wasn't as fun feeling like we were alone. We came to a mutual agreement that we'd grab some food at the food court, then take our rebellious attitudes elsewhere. Arriving in the food court, we went our separate ways as we each wanted separate restaurants. Ashley and Lisa went to one end of the food court while I went to the other. On the way, that's when I saw him. He sat alone at one of the tables, rocking back and forth in his seat. He wore tattered clothes and flip-flops, and his eyes were completely bloodshot red. Worst and scariest of all, however, were his pupils. His eyes weren't just bloodshot, they were rolled back into his head while he sat there, nodding back and forth sporadically. I tried my best to pretend I didn't see him, and even went as far as to go completely out of my way to avoid him, walking in a big curve around him. All efforts crumbled, however, when Lisa made the mistake that cost us our sanctity. From across the food court, she called out to me,
"Maria, do you have my cell phone?"
The man stopped rocking in an instant, snapping his head towards Lisa, then towards me. He stood up, twitching as he did so, and began walking towards me. I was petrified. I stood there, watching him come towards me, but I couldn't move. He got within a single foot of me before speaking in a voice like broken glass.
"Maria, that was my mother's name. Will you be my new mother?"
I did not speak. My mouth fell open, but no words came from it. Instead, I stammered, attempting to find the words that had escaped me. This man shushed me, ladies and gentlemen, a slow, methodical shh, while I stood before him, petrified. He punctuated this by stroking his dirty hand across my face and pushing my hair behind my ears. My eyes welled up with tears and it felt like time stopped around me. My petrified state was broken only when Ashley and Lisa came running over, screaming at the guy to get away from me. With new eyes on him, the guy limped away, disappearing within the mall corridors. I wanted to leave after this, but Ashley and Lisa insisted on getting our food first. "He's gone," they told him. "We scared him away." Yeah, right. Begrudgingly, I watched them eat. I had lost every ounce of my appetite after the encounter, and all I wanted was to get home. They finished up, and we slowly started our journey towards the exit. Now, remember how I told you there weren't many cars in the parking lot? Well, now it was only Lisa's car in the parking lot. This immediately gave me a bad feeling, a feeling I should have listened to. I should have called my parents, I should have gone to school, I should have done a lot of things. Instead, I walked towards the car with my girlfriends. As we inched closer, I began to make out a figure ducking behind Lisa's front tire. I stopped in my tracks, but Ashley and Lisa continued walking. I couldn't lose my voice right now. With all my might, I screamed for the two of them to stop. When they did, they turned to face me, and while their backs were turned, the man from the food court rose from behind the tire. He had this horrifying smile on his face, like his mouth was trying to jump away from him, and he held a little metal rod in his hands. He muttered one phrase, just loud enough for all three of us to hear. "Hi, Mom." I thought we were absolutely done for. I thought that we had made our last mistake and this man was going to kill and eat us. Instead, with a smile still plastered to his face, he simply backed away from the car and began walking away. We took that opportunity to practically lunge into the car. Well, Ashley and I did. Lisa reached her side of the car and froze in her tracks for a moment, staring down in awe at where the man had been crouching. She sort of shook her head as though she was removing thoughts from it before throwing her door open and getting in the car with us. We peeled out of the mall parking lot. We were bats out of hell when it came to leaving that parking lot. We were all freaking out, but Lisa seemed like she was withholding something. I pried at her about it, and she finally confessed. That man had carved, quote, "Mama's car," quote, right into Lisa's front fender. That was what the rod was for. When I tell you I didn't sleep for weeks after this, I am not kidding. I say that with every ounce of sincerity in my body. So yeah, we all have our fears, but sometimes those fears are justified.
Back in 2017, I was a YouTuber. Not a huge one, but I pulled in good numbers. Hundreds of thousands of views, sometimes millions. If you were watching overnight challenges, urban explorations, or anything that involved sneaking into abandoned places, you might have seen my videos. It was all fake. That's what I want you to believe. That's what I need you to believe. I was always careful. I planned every video like a heist. Research, entry points, escape routes. But in May of 2017, I got cocky. I wanted something bigger, something that would go viral. 24 hours in an abandoned mall. It sounded perfect. I found the Cove Plaza shopping mall, closed in 2013, mostly intact, no official security. I brought my gear, a flashlight, night vision camera, some food, and a battery pack. I was ready, at least I thought I was. I got in through a service door. The inside was exactly what I wanted. Dust-covered tiled floors, shattered skylights, and dead silence. I started filming immediately, playing up the creep factor, and then I saw them. Mannequins. Not just a few hundreds. Stores that had been picked clean still had them. Naked, broken, posed in unnatural ways. Some with missing limbs, others vandalized. A few were arranged in groups, like they were mid-conversation. I joked about it on camera. Something about how this was the real mannequin challenge. I even moved a few, positioning them in weirder poses for later shots. I shouldn't have touched them. By 2 a.m., I was settled in the food court. The air smelled stale, like old grease and mold. I was filming a menu, which was still lit up when I heard footsteps, not the echo of my own, someone else's. I killed my light. Silence. Then a faint plastic scrape. I turned my camera towards the sound, slowly raising the brightness. The mannequins had moved. Not just a lot, but a few inches. But I knew they had been there before. I checked the footage. One near the escalator had its arms at its sides 3 hours ago. I was nervous, but I convinced myself it was nothing. Maybe I bumped it earlier. Maybe my memory was bad. I went back to filming. At 3:15 a.m., my camera shut off. The battery was charged. It shouldn't have died. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The mannequins were even closer. The one by the escalator was now on the first step. I don't remember getting up. I don't remember running. 1 second I was sitting, and the next I was at the other end of the food court, panting like I'd just sprinted a mile. I wasn't alone anymore. Something moved in my peripheral vision. A head turned. Plastic slammed the ground. I bolted. I didn't look back. I didn't stop filming. Not until I was outside, gasping for breath. My camera was still dead, but my phone had the footage. I never uploaded it. When I checked the files the next day, they were corrupted. Every single one. The only thing that remained was a still frame from the food court. A blurry shot of me sitting on the floor. And something behind me. A mannequin. No head, no arms. Just standing there. I don't care if you believe me. Just don't go looking for Cove Plaza. They don't like being watched. Hey guys, this is Tang. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the mall horror story video. I want to start off by asking Kieran, my fellow partner in crime, what he thought about the stories.
I have a little bit of mixed feelings. I think the topic is actually a pretty cool one. But some of these stories were rougher, but they each, in my opinion, had some like kind of silver lining or elements that I really thought were neat.
Right.
The first story, right, with the warrior creature or just some creature at the end stalking him. Or that one, honestly, that one's a pretty cool one because you don't really know what was stalking him at the end. But,
Right.
And I also liked how they actually included a bunch of staged photos for the story to make it look more realistic.
Absolutely, yeah.
The second story, the one I narrated, I just really liked that one overall as like just a well-rounded story. I liked the creeper guy that they had, just as like a more, I like realistic villains, something that I could see being scary to me.
Yeah, like more practical.
Because like if I saw that, right, like I like the way how it's written, or like she sees a guy tweaking out in a chair, and then she's like doing a huge circle around him, but like not go near him.
Yeah,
it's like, yes, that's what I would do.
100%.
And that last story, like, I just relate to it because in 2017, I was watching those, like, overnight challenge videos a lot. Like, people like Guava Juice would make them, and they would be clearly staged. But, like, this is, like the horror stories being written by Guava Juice or something. It's funny.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that last story, too, because it touches on mannequins. And I don't think I ever told you this, Kieran, but as a child, I actually had an irrational fear of mannequins. Because I was doing some, my mom took me to a Nordstrom and she left me alone to like ask an employee, just a question. I don't even remember what it was, but I kind of wandered off into like the bathroom area, and I specifically remember opening a door into a dark room, and there were a bunch of mannequins just standing there staring at me in the dark. Yeah, this is real. This is a real story, guys.
Yeah.
I remember seeing like a bunch of like black figures just like staring at me, and like as a little kid, it never really I never really thought about the fact that they were mannequins. I thought they were people, like staring at me.
Oh, so you thought like as a kid you just opened the store and there's a bunch of dudes looking at you?
Yes, 100%. So like as a kid, like it was even mannequins that I developed a fear of. It was just a fear of malls. So I feel like that is another like source of inspiration for this story. Like I think malls, you can do so much with the topic. Like so much can happen at a mall.
Okay. That's actually, I didn't know you had like a personal connection to this. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Tang. I already discussed the stories, like my opinions on them a bit. Do you have any opinions on the stories yourselves?
I like how weird they can get at times. I think that makes it more entertaining for us to narrate, and also I imagine like for you guys watching this, it would also make it a lot more entertaining to just listen to, because I feel like, I don't want to stereotype, but I feel like a lot of like horror stories tend to follow like the same formula. So I really appreciate a story that's like willing to just take some weird liberties and just do things that like other stories like would just never say or never do.
Speaking of stories, if you guys have any stories that you'd like to hear us narrate, either comment them below or like a link to them, or just email it to us at the email in the description and in the channel description. We're always looking for new things to narrate.
So again, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and feel free to give the video a like and comment as it'll really help us reach a wider audience. And if you're in the mood for more horror-related content, subscribe.
Alright, see ya.